I'm Alison Darcy, and CEO founder of Woebot Labs. We made Woebot to deliver individualized mental health tools via a chatbot.
Yeah, perfect. And what has you really excited about the conversational space?
I just think it's very natural for humans to interact that way with technology. And before this point, I think technology has been somewhat cumbersome, effortful, whereas, as humans, we've been conversing for, over 100,000 years. So this is a very natural interface for us. And that frees up a lot of, cognitive space, a lot of mind noise, if you like, while you're interacting with the tech. So that is, I think, has freed up a lot of resources for interesting games. There's a lot of game.
Game mechanics.
Game mechanics that are open. Yeah, there's a lot of gameplay and interesting dynamics that you can do with conversation that really hasn't been available to us before. But in our space, I think when people are distressed or upset, conversation's a much easier way to deliver a good tool or strategy that will help in that moment, because the last thing, when we feel low or bad, we don't swipe through our problems or click through our problems, we talk about our problems.
Perfect. That's great.
That's a pretty good soundbite, actually.
It is. That's a good one.
Please don't film that. You'll edit that out, right?
You'll edit it.
Yeah. Are you buying this? Yeah.
You guys buying this? It's great. Perfect.
In maybe the next 1 to 5 years, what do you see as the biggest problem in the conversation space that you'd love to see solved? Maybe to make your life easier?
I think some of the tools that are available to author chatbots are, limited on some dimension. And I think as we explore more and more kind of conversational dynamics, they typically don't allow for the full breadth of experience, or they don't allow you to design for the full breadth of experience. I think, of course, people are becoming more and more conscious about their data. And, as I'm demonstrating now, you can just kind of talk on and on and on. And so I think data protection is going to become a much bigger deal, and it should. So I think that's a big challenge as well.
We'll sign an NDA.
Yeah, right.
Perfect. Maybe think back to before bots were a thing, and then you at that time, and what was kind of that aha moment when you said, "Oh, that thing, that's going to be the next thing that is huge. I need to really integrate this into my business." When was the aha moment to realize about chatbots? Woebot as a chatbot. That's a thing. That's what I need to build.
We were building psychologically themed video games, and lots of prototypes of video games. There was a lot of interactive fiction and a lot of RPG style, concepts within those, and 3D games, all kinds of different dynamics. And Woebot was a prototype that we were creating alongside 4 or 5 other prototypes that were testing very specific assumptions about the design construct. And it was the aha moment was just looking at the data across all of those prototypes after we had unleashed them, among a small group of young adults. And it was just seeing how people conversed with Woebot, like complaining to Woebot that they hadn't, he hadn't checked in for their day, and saying, Woebot, it's really important to me that you check in with me every single day. And, I've never had that experience of a push notification, for example. I'm never annoyed that an app has failed to send me a push notification. And that, it was when you discover the first time that people are referring to Woebot as an entity, and you can see that it's a suspended reality. And that's really, really special. That's the same thing we were trying to capture with video games. That's the same thing that you're trying to do in good therapeutics as well. You are saying to someone, imagine your existence didn't have to be like this for a second. What would that look like? In the same way with video games, you can be anyone. You can try out different things. You're in a fantasy world. And you could capture that essence with a chatbot And it was really obvious from the very earliest prototype that we did, even though we just had fast text responses. You could still, that conversational experience was, there's just something much more natural and much more magic about it.
Yeah. And much less design involved too than like 3D video games.
Oh my God, I know. Oh my God. And then it's funny looking back on our 3D video games, everybody was just trying to run outside the building. And whereas all of the video game premise was about the conversations that you had. And like,
It's a distraction.
it's a distraction. But with hindsight, all of the games that we had so much dialogue. And it just took a while for that penny to drop, I think.
Yeah, it's such a good combination there.
Oh, well.
Just talk to this thing.
Totally.
It'll be good.
Totally. Right.
Great. Well, I got one more question.
Okay.
If you could ask one question of your users and get a definitive response, what would you ask them? What would you like to know?
Oh my God. That is such a good question. Oh,
I've gotten a number of answers.
God.
And it's meant to be
Oh,
fun.
do you want the marketing answer or the, no.
I can tell you some of the answers that people have told me.
Yeah, go on, let's start there.
So some of the answers people have told me is they want to know what everybody else in the room was doing at the time you were talking to this thing.
Oh,
Right? 'Cause
yeah.
They really wonder how the heck you use a voice assistant
Oh, that's brilliant, yeah.
in the middle
right.
of like a party.
Right.
Or
Right.
They want to, and another person wanted to know what was the person thinking
Right.
when they were like, oh, I'm
Right.
just going to ask this thing.
Right. That's interesting. That's so interesting because I think one of the things that's been really striking for us is the number of people who report feeling lonely even in a social context. But I would ask people how they describe Woebot to their friends, because this is something that we struggle with as well. And, I think a lot of the press has said, AI therapist, but that's of course not what Woebot is at all and is not what he's trying to be. And it serves a very different role. Woebot can be there for you at 2 a.m. under the covers, and there really is no clinician that ever should be there with you at 2 a.m. under the covers, right? But I think that, how to describe something that is genuinely new in the world has been challenging for us, and we'd love to get that answer from people.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Those are all the questions.
Thank you. That was great.